Well, today is the last work day of the year 2015. I wanted to go ahead and just jump into making this one quick update, and that was that, how we feel during these times. It's a little bit of a downer today because I realize, it's a constant reminder that this being the end of the year makes me know that, the end of the job is about 3 weeks away. Yeah, it's a little bit of a downer, and the point of this video is that, a lot of people, and I was guilty of this when I was younger, I thought I had a more heightened awareness, and I think I did, than most people say in it, the 20, 30, and even 40-year-old ranges, that how older people have feelings just like everybody else. They need encouragement, they get depressed. Sometimes it's even far more severe than what younger people experience. And if you know somebody that's, a middle-aged person that's, maybe going through, it doesn't have to be unemployment, it could be any one of several things. Just remember they have feelings too. And over the years, most people have, society expects them to be stoic and suffer well, and et cetera, and so on and so forth. And I really don't have any thoughts one way or the other on that. The thing is that you always remember that we're all human. So we experience the entire spectrum of emotions, and that's your whole life. That's the one thing, if I could get across, it would be that, is that even through your later years, that, and of course that's relative. I'm sure some people a lot older than me would agree with me on those points and say, well, your age that you're at right now is not really that old. It's all relative. But it's this. We had the blizzard come through, and it's just the ice has been horrible, and we're in between. The storm systems. It snowed again this morning. It's a real downer. It's just depressing. I've been fighting the flu too, which has made it even more fun to get out and shovel ice and snow when you feel this way. But that's all part of life, and not really even worth complaining about. But just keep in mind, as part of what I was saying about being patient with yourself, that's the one thing that takes a long time throughout life that's a learned behavior, especially if you are the type that has high expectations for yourself and even those around you. Just it's hard to be patient with yourself especially if you've done everything that you can. Now everything else is in the Lord's hands, and so these next days off, I have about 4 days before I go back to work, and I'll be putting some more resumes out, and one thing I did want to say too is that about all this is that the situation I'm in now, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video. It's looking at having to move. Unless I just got phenomenally lucky, there's just not much in the way of employment around here. It's a gas-producing region. It's in a big recession. And as a matter of fact, several of the big people that deal with drilling and fracking and all that, and oil field service, they moved out of the area altogether. So I'm that's one thing I'm having to keep in mind and having to look at and having to plan for. Oh my gosh, it's just the planning. You just have no room for mistakes, and I'm in so much of a better position than a lot of people. This comes on people. When I was growing up, when my mother was, she was the only person in our lives, her and 5 kids, and so. It was tough. Trying to move around to find the right job and et cetera and so on. And I can think back, and then just looking at it now, I see how I can sit here and say how much easier I truly have it. But still, even when it's it's like a barley on your back, then it's the whole world looks different. So anyway, do things. I'm going to try and just to stay really busy and involved in something that's working toward the resolution of the events that are coming up, and that's a big part of it, is stay busy, stay positive, and things will, you'll get past these bad spots, and that's what I want to show. That's what this channel is all about. So keep a good thought for myself and for yourself also. One of the interesting thing, I remember years ago hearing a sermon that had made a particular impact on me, was that the preacher said in a very assertive way how people don't realize, you see, one thing to pray for everyone else and pray for the world if there are things to get better. But the preacher pointed out how neglectful we are to pray for ourselves and to, be the very best and actualize our lives. Ask God to help us actualize our life. That's why we're here. So keep a good thought for yourself and myself, and God bless you, and we'll talk to you again.